Hey everybody, I'm Jessica Brodie, and this is Shining the Light. If there's one thing I really don't like, it's cleaning. I mean, I'll load the dishwasher, I'll cook, I will organize, but cleaning, like dusting and vacuuming and sweeping and scrubbing the toilets, it is just not my thing. I'll do it, but I do not like it. Still, it's one of those things we all have to do, right? I mean, like brushing our teeth or mowing the lawn. You know, it's self-care, it's house care, it's family care. It goes with adulthood, I think. Part of taking care of my little corner of the universe. But it's also about serving my family. Best little secret I've discovered about all the mundane little things that we do as moms, as dads, as grown-ups, as just community members in general. It's sometimes the little things are the things that are the most important. I know it sounds cliche, but the little things have sometimes the biggest impact. And they also go a long way in helping me realize that the world doesn't revolve around me. Remember how when you were little and you'd look up at the sky and you'd see the sun and you thought that the sun was revolving around you, you know? And from your perspective, you weren't wrong. I mean, you could stand there on your front porch and you could be facing the sky and you could see the sun come up. And at the end of the day, you could just be standing in the same place and turn around and the sun would be all the way on the other side of the sky. And you never moved or you never changed positions. I mean, why wouldn't we think that? And then later on, we find out the exact opposite. We find out that the sun doesn't revolve around us, but it's our world that's revolving around the sun. And this whole time, we just had the wrong perspective. You know, it only looks like it's the other way around. And truth be told, that's kind of how I am as a person too. You know, when you're a little child, you think the whole world revolves around you. You cry and the adults spring into action and comfort you. And then later you find out that's really not the way the world works at all. You realize that you play a part in helping the world go round. You know, you play a part in kindness and society and how things work. And then as a Christian woman, you come to realize that the center of the world isn't the world or anything else at all, but that it's God. That everything that is the most important in your life, it all circles back to the Lord. And your entire purpose, I mean, raising your children, being a wife, falling in love, experiencing all the wonderful things about life, all of that is about, at the very core, about glorifying God. My purpose is God. And that's a humbling, liberating, amazing, beautiful thing. So last week I talked about how sometimes when we spend time in creation, it really helps us love God better by loving what He created. This week I'm talking about how we can love God better by loving other people through service. Now, that service can be being on a mission trip. It can be feeding the homeless. It can be packing backpacks for hungry kids. It can be collecting supplies. But it can also be the little things like serving your family. Those things that you don't love to do sometimes, that you think, I've cooked dinner every night this week. When is it somebody else's turn? But there's always somebody else that has something else going on. It's the little things in life about just taking care of your family, doing a load of laundry, cutting apples in the kitchen for your kids for a snack, or pouring your husband a drink just to be nice. It doesn't mean that you are less than others when you serve other people. It's just a way to love people. People obviously should care back for you too. They should serve you too. But regardless of whether they do or not, when we serve other people, when we take care and we show in acts of service our love for them, by doing nice things for them, by caring for our home, by making meals for them, or anything else that we can do, that act of service is a form of love, and loving others is a form of loving God. The Apostle Paul wrote a lot about what it means to serve other people in Scripture. And in Galatians 5:13-14, he said, "You were called to freedom, brothers and sisters. Only don't let this freedom be an opportunity to indulge your selfish impulses, but serve each other through love. All the law has been fulfilled in a single statement: love your neighbor as yourself." Or in 1 John 3:18, he says, "Little children, let's not love with words or speech, but with action and truth." I mean, words are good. Words are encouraging. The tongue is important. What we say and the way that we express, the way that we share the gospel and the way that we share love and kindness toward one another, all of that really is important. But what he's saying here is love with action. Do things. Tell the truth. Share the good news. Show people love in the name of the Lord. It can be as small scale as making a meal for your family, or sending a letter to someone who's in the hospital, or just having a hard day. It can be going for a walk or bringing the trash cans in for your neighbor. It can be noticing the guy behind you in the grocery store not having enough cash to pay for his groceries and just sliding a quick 20 out of your pocket and slipping it to the clerk just because. I mean, we would want that done for us, right? We're not to judge. Loving other people with action, it takes a lot of different forms. It can be grandiose, it can be tiny, it can be something they don't notice. But here's the thing, we notice, God notices, and it all just helps the world go round a little better, a little more kindly. It takes the focus of ourselves. It helps us stop being the center of our own world when we're taking time from our lives to do for somebody else, whatever that looks like. It's one more way we remember we are not the star of this show. God and all of his people, us included, we're all together. We're all part of him. We are one in Christ. Now, I'll say that I'm one of those people that took a long time to really understand this. I think, like a lot of us, I was really self-absorbed when I was a teenager. You know, I worried about my own problems. I would be that type of person who would spend ages just psychoanalyzing every conversation I had with a friend, or if someone looked at me just the wrong way, I'd take it so personally, and I'd worry about the way that I acted and dressed, and if I did or didn't do this right. You know, I was so self-conscious, and it all just added up to one big Jessica-centered world, which is ridiculous and really not great. Now, before I had kids, I had the luxury of so much time to dwell on my emotions. You know, if I had a bad day, I could come home and I could wallow in self-pity if I wanted to. But see, after I had kids, even if I wanted to, I couldn't anymore. You know, because I had to care for these little people who were dependent on me. So, you know, maybe I had a hard day at work, but I would pick my kids up from daycare and I'd bring them home and I'd change their diapers and I'd feed them and I'd care for them and I'd do all that I could as a mom to tend to their needs. And I didn't have time to worry about the little things anymore. It started to open my eyes. Why am I caring about someone else's dirty look at me when my toddler is noticing this rose and saying, "Mommy, look at that sunset"? My eyes were open to something so much bigger than my own petty world. You know, it was a really busy season and my kids are older now, so I have a lot more time on my hands. But I learned an important truth that has stayed with me. I can't worry so much about my own problems and my stresses if I'm busy taking care of other people. So now, even though I'm not diapering, thankfully, and even though I don't have to cut up my kids' food anymore, I'm holding on to that truth that it really doesn't matter if someone does or doesn't like me, or if that person was or wasn't mean to me, or if that is or isn't going to happen. Instead, I can really focus on what really matters, on God and on the big picture lessons in life. You know, God commands us to do his work in the world, and I don't just mean the physical work of tending to other people's needs. It's also the work of the soul. In Luke chapter 10, verses 2 and 3, Jesus commissioned 72 people, and he said to them, "The harvest is bigger than you can imagine, but there are few workers. Therefore, plead with the Lord of the harvest to send out workers for his harvest. Go, be warned, though, that I'm sending you out as lambs among wolves." God commands us to do his work in the world. But work doesn't just mean tending to physical needs. His work is work of the soul. It might look on the surface like feeding your kids or serving the homeless. The work transcends the actual action, the actual service being done when it's about the Lord. And in Mark 16:15, Jesus said to his apostles, "Go into the whole world and proclaim the good news to every creature." Go, do, serve, then love. It's echoed throughout the entire New Testament. In 1 Peter 4:10, he said, "And serve each other according to the gift each person has received, as good managers of God's diverse gifts." Whatever you do it for the Lord. Do it in love. And do it knowing that every little thing matters. Every form of love helps foster love. And if it's done for the Lord, he'll use it. Today's topic of service is one of the 10 tips that I've included in a free mini ebook that I've created called A God-Centered Life. 10 faith-based practices when you're feeling anxious, grumpy, or stressed. And the book is free to anybody who subscribes to my blog. So go to this website here, put your email address in, and you can be reading it today. And if you're already subscribed to my blog and you haven't gotten your ebook yet, let me know. Just shoot me an email right here and I will send it to you as well. If you have any ways that you serve others, whether it's in your family or in your community or just in the global world, whether it's by mission trips or serving as a prayer warrior, I'd love to hear just ways that you have loved to serve. That's all for this week, everybody. Have a great day. God bless you, and keep on shining the light.